ES6 also offers a new way how we can iterate over iterable objects. And when we talk about iterable objects, think of string, array, map, and set that we haven't covered, and etc., but not the actual object. And unlike for each, when we use for off, that's going to be our new way of iterating over those iterable objects. We can use a break and continue. Because even though for each is nice, there's no way for you to break out of the loop. And for that, we're going to take a look at two simple examples where we have fruits array as well as some long string. And I guess we're going to start with a string. And the syntax for off loop is following, where we type in the for, then whatever we would want to name our single variable. So in our case, since I'm iterating over the long string, I'm just going to call my single instance a letter. Please keep in mind, as always, you can call this whatever you would want. So I could have called this John. Doesn't really matter. So I'm going to call this a letter, and then I'm looking for my iterable object, which in my case is going to be long name. So I'm going to look for my variable, long name, and then within a loop, I can do whatever I would want. And we're going to start very simply by just consoling out the letter. And then in console, I can see that I'm printing out each and every letter, including the white space. So why don't we construct a short name where we would avoid the white space? How we would do that? Well, first we can just comment out the console log letter because we don't want to overpopulate the console. And then in this case, I'm going to say if letter, and then it's going to be equal to an empty string, of course. So I'm going to say white space like so. Then I would want to continue because remember, when we were working with loops, we had two options. We have continue or break. Now we're going to take a closer look at both of them when we're working with fruits. But in this case, I'm just going to say if my letter is equal to a white space, I would just want to continue. So I wouldn't want to follow along with whatever functionality I'm going to set up in a second. So I'm going to say, all right, so I would like to continue. However, if the letter is not a white space, then I would want to add it to a short name. So I'm going to say short name plus equals, and then whatever letter I'm currently iterating over. Of course, if we would want to check it out, then we're just going to console log the short name, and we're going to see in a console that we have the name without the white space. And let's do the same thing with fruits, where again, we would want to iterate over. And as far as array, we're just going to take a look at how we can break out of the loop if we hit certain item, or how we can just loop over it without doing anything. And the way we're going to set this up is going to be for, again, whatever you would want to name your single instance. So in my case, I'm going to go with fruit of fruits array. And you know what? I'm going to comment out this guy as well. Then within the loop, we're just going to set up if fruit, if our single instance is equal to imagine banana, then we would want to break or continue. So if we go with break, you're going to see that each and every time we're console logging our value, the moment we're going to hit banana, well, we're going to stop. So we're going to only have apple and orange. So we are iterating over our array. I have apple, I have orange, and the moment my single instance is banana, we just break out of the loop. How we can set this up where we just loop over it? Well, then we would need to use continue. So I'm going to go with continue. Of course, in this case, I'm going to comment out the break, and you're going to see that in a console, we don't see the banana. So I'm iterating over, I have apple, orange. The moment my single instance is equal to banana, then I just say, all right, so just continue and don't follow along with the logic that I set up after my if statement. And there you go. We have apple, orange, and peach.